My name is Mike Fox. It's great to be here. Karna kind of asked me to do this, so I'm excited to be here and share a little bit of workspace overview with you. I'll tell you a little bit about myself first. I was in the military for 20 years, and in the military, I was a hydraulics mechanic. So if there's anybody on the call today that just started their journey in IT, or they're just starting to learn about the cloud or any of that, I know where you're coming from. I was a mechanic on an aircraft carrier for 20 years. So if anybody's ever seen Top Gun or Discovery Channel, when the airplane hits the aircraft carrier, all that equipment below, that's what I maintained for about 18 years. And then I was in college a little bit while I was in the military. They paid for that, and I got some IT knowledge and went to college for a few things, got a few certs, and then once I got out of college, retired in 2008, and then started my journey. Did we fix the feedback? Okay, great.
I'm muting folks, but if you could just mute yourselves, that would make everything a lot easier. Thank you so much.
So I was in the military for 20 years, retired in 2008. And then I went downrange as a civilian in Afghanistan and started some comm stuff, which is closely related to IT field. And once I was done with that, I went to California and started working for the Marine Corps. I was a basic IT for the Marine Corps, stood up a whole bunch of things. I enjoyed my time there. And then why Workspaces is so nice to me is I used to image laptops. I don't know if any of you guys do that, for thousands of people, and it's a really difficult task to get operating systems up, to get people the technology they need to do their jobs. So again, if you're new in the IT field or new in the cloud space, you can be taught. I'm living proof of that. And I'm happy to be here at AWS, and every day is day one for me. I learn something new every day. So with that, let's continue on. And by the way, Saeed is on. I don't see any chat or anything like that as I'm presenting. So if you have a question, you can go ahead and put it in your chat, and I'll get to it towards the end. But I do want to do an overview and a short demo. So let's get started. So there's a loose agenda right here on your screen. It's nothing to really bet on, but I'm gonna go over a few use cases. I'm gonna give you an overview of the service itself. When it comes to bundles, I'm gonna show you that in the demo. There are some, you'll have a slide that shows you some of the demos, some of the bundles we have. But when I go into the demo, that's when I'll kind of show you different bundles that we offer. And then pricing, if you're interested in pricing, then we can definitely get together and talk about pricing. But generally as a training, I don't go too deep into pricing. All right, and then I believe it was Justin, or maybe it was Jeremy. I was telling them I was building this slide deck, and I came across this slide, and it just made me kind of laugh a little bit. That if you look on the right-hand side, that 70% of users work 1 day a week. I can probably say this slide is super out of date, and I would say that me personally, I work a lot remote. So Workspaces is even more popular. I think I mentioned before everybody got on that I have customers that are just now getting into this Workspaces. I think that it has something to do with the tech refresh. Those of you that are in the business, providing resources for your workforce, that maybe the tech refresh is done and they're just ready to go to the cloud after a couple of years. So today's organizations, we're focusing on, getting everything transformed, the workforce transformation into the cloud. And Workspaces is one of those. So if you have your desktops in the cloud, you have your compute in the cloud, you have your storage in the cloud, everything's in one contained area. It's part of that transformation that AWS loves to see companies do. And so workforce transmit, something just popped up. Give me 1 second. This is not, oops, sorry, everyone. Okay, the use cases. So when you look at your screen, there's some stuff on there. So flexibility in the workforce, I think that's key. That's really number one, that regardless of what industry you're in, if you have to provision laptops, if you have to run your own VDI, it's labor intensive, it's difficult. So people who work from home, imagine that, well, you don't have to imagine, it's reality right now. If you have someone you hire tomorrow, in theory, you could just spin up a Workspaces form. They could get to work tomorrow on whatever piece of equipment that they currently have. Another use case is dev. So, if you have a bunch of developers and testers, they're constantly re-imaging their machines, they're installing new builds. So with them having the ability to tear down and restart their desktop in the cloud, it just makes things a lot easier for them, right? And of course, your costs are going to come down, the shipping, the hardware. So a lot of these things are really prevalent today. And like I said, I have a lot of customers that are really calling me about workspaces right now, which is, it's odd because we're 2 years deep into the pandemic. So the typical VDI is difficult to set up. Amazon's VDI, of course, is Workspaces. They provide, persistent virtualized machines. They can be Windows or Linux, fully managed, which on the next slide will make a little bit better view of fully managed. They're highly available, reliable, and secure. So first, we know that there's some reasons why people want this is security in the cloud. So you can really get into locking down these workstations, only allowing certain things to happen when people are using them. And I'll go over that in another slide about how you can keep people from copying and pasting. Of course, you have agility on there. So basically anywhere, if you have a browser, you're going to be able to connect to the workspace. Reliability, multiple AZs, and we manage all that in the background. Of course, saving money, on the cost of the laptops or desktops or whatever it is that you're provisioning, it's going to be cheaper to do it in the cloud. So here's the screen I was telling you about. So when you look at the on-premise VDI, you're responsible for everything. There's a few other VDIs out there in the cloud. You still have a little bit more you have to do, be a little more hands-on, but then you look at the workspaces. All you have to do is make your image and set up your directory and your policies, and you're pretty much good to go. And I was going to talk to Jeremy about doing another one of these to show you how to make your own bundles, how to set up your workspaces for maybe different departments. It just really makes it easy once you have that image, you have what you want on there, what you want your users to have access to, and you can just pop those out. So here's a graphic of different companies that use the virtual desktops. We have thousands of customers, so we're pretty versed in this, workspaces and remote desktops. So what we're going to do is take you through some of the key holders, right? I have no idea who's on the call with us today, so hopefully I hit your area of concern. So we're going to talk about some of the benefits to each one of these lines of business here, and we'll focus on business leaders first. So business leaders seem to be focused on optimizing their operations, or recognizing that the continuity should be part of the entire business strategy. So when you have workspaces, everything has that continuity. Everybody is able to get their remote desktop, their workspace, and provide what they need to do with their company. So here's a few use cases. We use Amazon, of course, because that's us. So we onboard a lot of users, and we probably save about $17 million as of this slide, just in giving virtual machines out versus hardware. And it really does free up IT. We're a big organization. IT has a lot of responsibilities, so it really makes a lot of sense that they would do these remote workstations so that they can free up IT to work on more important projects or things that have more visibility. And then here's a few other companies. I think Grubhub here, they scaled 1,200 workspaces in 2 days. That's a lot of workspaces, but it's capable of doing that. Once you get your images right and you have what you want, you can just put those out to all your workers. IT, this was my favorite spot again, simplifying the deployment management. Anybody in the room that has had to image 500 computers, it's a weekend, it's a week, it's difficult. And being able to do it in the cloud, I didn't have that advantage when I was a younger IT, but this would have made my life so much easier. And you can control everything. And we'll go over some of that within the demo. All right, so simplifying the deployment, you can pre-configure, like I mentioned, and you can have the desktop set up exactly how you want them for each user. You can watch them in CloudWatch, CloudTrail. You can monitor your instances. You can do cost saving, and that's another topic we can go over later on. But you're full control and you have full visibility into your workspaces. We have integrations, as you can see here. Excuse me, I have to cough. So there's several third-party integrations that make it even easier to work within workspaces. So here's some of the SLA. Again, I mentioned earlier, multiple availability zones, auto scaling, so you don't have to worry about any of that infrastructure I showed you on the other slide. You're going to make your images, you're going to make your bundles, whatever you need to be inside those, and then you're just going to issue those. You can break them up by department. You can do tagging, and I'll show you some of that when we do the demo. Just makes it really, really easy. All right, again, I mentioned, cost optimization. So when you go into your AWS account, you can see, what the usage is, how often they're being turned on and turned off, because there's different models that I'll get into in a moment on how you can run these workspaces. So cost optimization is always important. You can save money. It's a pay as you go, hourly, monthly. It depends on how often you're going to use it. And then the auto stop after 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. Those are the kind of things I'll show you in the console. Makes much more sense. It's self-service. So if a user needs to reset their password, things like that, we offer all these tools. Security. All right, so we have security as number one in AWS. So that goes right into our workspaces. So whenever you have regulatory requirements, and those of you who might not know how the workspaces work, you're just getting a copy on your screen of what's going on. Your mouse clicks are encrypted, your keystrokes are encrypted. So the data is really not touching whatever the user is trying to connect with. It's staying in the AWS infrastructure. So we meet a lot of compliance requirements and we protect all the data. I apologize. So here's some of the certifications that we can help you achieve. It's just self-explanatory. If you need more information on certain certifications you need to meet, definitely hit me and we'll get all the different things you need for compliance. All right, so the workspace helps your organization and the sensitive data. It's secure. As I just mentioned, I mentioned it earlier, I guess. It never touches the person's computer that's logging into it. They're just encrypting the mouse, the keyboard, and things like that. We can restrict copying, pasting, printing, things like that. So you can manage all that security right here from AWS. We also have authentication and encryption at rest, in transit. So totally secure and it's easy to adjust all these things. All right, for end user, that's what we're really looking at. Oh, something just happened to my screen again. Zoom. Okay. So for end users, what do you want to give them? You want them to feel like they're at their desktop at work, or that they can perform all their duties. So you can put Bluetooth, you can put headsets, you can use your webcam, multiple monitors, so it feels just like they're at home using, just like they're at work using their work computer. All right, Rich, I keep getting a little bit ahead of myself. So of course we can do multi-display. So if you wanted to have more than one monitor hooked up, your webcam, mics, the things like we're doing now with Zoom, real-time players, and you can print, depending on your situation, relatively easily with little IT interference. All right, so from this choice, I know you guys had this brief before, but you can connect with a Windows machine, a Mac, which is important to some firms, like the engineering firm I'm working with. They all use Mac, but they want their other users to be on Windows machines, so they can still connect with a Mac, use that Windows AMI, and connect right in. So there's a list of different devices you can use, like phones, Chromebooks, things like that. And then now my eyes don't allow me to do this, but you can pinch and push inside your phone or your iPad to grow the screen with little to no problem. And then I'm not going to go too deep into workspaces and work docs. You do get 50 gig of work docs, and you can upgrade it, but this can be the storage for your users to do what they need to do to save documents. And there's other storage solutions as well, a little bit higher degree of solutioning, but there are other ones that if you'd like more information, I'd be happy to get on a call with you. And then here's where I told you, we have different types. Again, don't pay too much attention to the pricing. It does change, it does vary. This gives you a good idea of, the type of bundle you're going to get. We're going to show you that in the demo in just a second. And, the price. So you can customize a lot of this. This is just a slide to let you know that, this is what it costs. And when we go into the actual console, I'll show you how you can select some of those. All right, so if you are interested in workspaces, we have many partners that are happy to help, happy to set up your environment, go over everything with you. Again, if you'd like a recommendation on a partner, please just reach out to me, Jeremy, and we'll definitely get you in touch with a partner that can help you. Maybe you don't have the resources right now, but you really need to get some workspaces spun up in the cloud. All right, and there's more next steps than just this. I'm going to give everybody the free tier information, white papers, but I think that Jeremy, he might have left, but he should have given a link to AWS for our training. I just wanted to go over that real quick. Let me get to my thank you slide. Okay, and let's see here. Saeed, can you see if he posted the link to our innovation hub?
He did.
Okay, yes. Great. Awesome. Now let's see if I can get to the Innovation Hub. Gosh, this little Zoom thing gets in your way, huh? Can't. Oh, there we go. All right.
It's no chime.
Yeah, there's challenges with every one of these. All right, so one plug I wanted to give for those of you who might want to learn about another service. You want to get some training that's a little more in detail than this 1 hour meetup that we do. If you go to that website, you can search events, right? You can search by the type, by when, what level, and it'll give you a good idea of some of the upcoming immersion days that we do. Now, if you've never been on an immersion day, they take a good 4 to 6 hours. They walk you through a few services. They give you a free account. You can play in the labs, but you get more hands-on than just me sitting up here telling you how cool it is. You can actually go and do it. You can sign up online, and I do recommend that you guys take some of those. My partner that I used to work with, Donna, she runs this program, and it's absolutely awesome. We have great feedback all the time. So with that, I'm going to take a 1-minute break, grab something to drink real quick, and then I'm going to go in and demo Workspaces. So give me 1 moment, please. Oops. All right, so I'm going to just go through now. If any of you ever worked in Workspaces, I kind of cheated, right? So I'm going to show you how to spin up a quick and easy workspace, but I kind of did the time warp where I've already ran everything last night, so that it takes a good, I think when I clocked it, 8 minutes to set up a directory and about 15 minutes to set up an actual workspace. So I'm not going to make you guys sit here and look at your screen, besides be way over time if we did that. I just want to make sure you can still see my screen. It says Workspaces, yes?
It just says thank you.
It says thank you.
Really? Oh, well, then something is wrong with my screen. Oh, if I move that bar, I wonder if it does something. Okay, give me 1 second. Let me work through this technical issue.
The best way is to stop sharing and then reshare.
That's what I'm about to do, hopefully. How are we looking now? Do we look like we're looking at the
There we go.
AWS? Awesome.
Yep.
Okay. So again, it's not much. There is free tier, and if you want to spin some of these up and you've never done it, Free tier works good. I'll show you some of that. But when you're first looking at this screen, which is cheating, we're not supposed to look at that one yet. Okay, here we go. The first thing you want to do is set up a directory, right? So inside the directory is basically how we're going to have people connect to these instances. So I'm going to walk through setting up a directory. It will not take long, just so you can kind of see what kind of information you would need. And hopefully it comes up. Awesome. All right, so there's a couple things when it first comes up, right? So you can do managed AD, you can do AD connector, but for my particular situation, I went with simple AD. Right, so it's a standalone, a little bit more cost effective than Microsoft AD, so it works just fine for demoing. So now here's the first thing, and there's two things I really want to say. If you go and you want to spin one of these up, there's certain things you need to do when you're done playing in the environment so you don't get cost associated, right? So I'm going to walk through all that with you today, and I am keeping my eye on the clock, so I have time to tell you how to make sure that if you do this, not to incur ongoing charges. So I selected simple AD. I'm going to select a small directory size. Now, right here, $36 a month. So if you delete your workspace, but you don't delete your directory, you're going to pay $36 a month. So just be careful of that when you're going through here and doing the free tier. Just, it could be an I gotcha or things like that. And I will show you how to delete all the resources. So organizational name, that's going to be, I think I named one of them Meetup, Basic or something. Anyway, give your organization a name because it's going to make that work docs folder for you. Okay. And a DNS name, we'll do like Meetup, February, and we'll just make it local. All right, so we give it a DNS name. You can fill in the optional information if you'd like, but we definitely have to give ourselves a password. And we have to confirm it. And you have to have a good password. You can't use 1111 or I just messed up talking. And then you always want to give a little bit of a description so you know what you're looking at, right? So test directory. Easy, right? So what we did was we selected our type of directory. We selected the smallest one, and we're going to go back and delete that when we're done. We put in all our pertinent information. It gave us a little bit of information on what we're doing. We're going to hit next. And then, so now it's populated into your default VPC. In my case, you can select a VPC and create a new VPC. Those are all advanced options. And whenever you're going through this, you can select which subnet you want it to be in, and you'll have a drop-down list. You can create a new one as well. But we're going to go up here and put no preference so I don't get any big errors. Let it do all the thinking. So then it gives you everything that you need to know for your directory. You have to have a directory before you can do a workspace. So it's going to give us our pricing. It's going to cost me $36, and we have to go back and delete this so we don't get recurring charges. So we would hit create directory, right? So again, we're going to time warp a little bit because we don't want to stay here for 8 minutes and just look at this screen. So after you're done creating your directory, you're going to have a status of active. Okay, once it's active, then you're going to register it. And how you would do that is you select. Here we go, Meetup right here. And of course, we're going to pretend for a moment that it's not registered. And you can just go and click register right here. And it'll register it and you'll be good to go to move to the next portion of the workspace, which is the actual workspace. Again, I kind of cheated here just so that I can show you the workspace at the end of this. I've stopped all my other instances, but I'm going to walk through it with you real quick so you can see some of those bundles I was talking about. The first thing you have to do is select a directory, right? So of course the other one's not done yet, so it's not showing here. So we'll go ahead and hit this one. So here is where you can create your users. Okay, so you put a username in, test, or whatever username you would want, their first name, last name, and important that you put their email because it's going to send them the way to log into this particular instance. Okay, also there's some additional users. You can create as many as you like right there. And then you'll see them populate down here. So I do have to make a Just so you can see the next screen. Okay, so oops, I need to attach selected. Why isn't it not letting me select it? Create. All right, there we go. All right, so you can see down here that I have my username. I apologize, I do have a dry throat. In the email that is going to be sent to, right? So you have free tier eligible things. You can come and play with this. Usually I create a Windows 10 machine. I'm super used to that. That's the one I created today, but you can do Linux as well. Now, what this is telling you is the CPU, the memory, the volume. Now, this is editable. You can change some of these values, right? So we could go over here. We're just going to do this free tier because we're not actually going to spin this up. So, and then you come down here, you can see all the different ones. We're gonna do this one. You can change the volumes if you'd like. And then we always give it a key so you can look it up later. And go to the next step. Okay, so here you can encrypt. You can do things as well. It'll give you the name, just the various things that this is on auto stop, so that right here, when I told you can stop it an X number of times. So let's say that you don't want to pay, you're paying by the hour. And if somebody hasn't used this machine in 2 hours, you want it just to go dormant, right? It'll still be there. You can bring it back up, but it'll just go dormant. So it kind of automatically times it out for you. But we're not going to go to that because I don't want to launch a workspace. I already have one set up for you. So what happens is that user would get an email. I have it over here. And they have a link. Let me see if I can share my link on here or not. Hello, there we go. Did my screen change when I went to the, do you guys see, please set your meetup Feb credentials? Said? Anybody?
Yeah, we see.
Yes.
Okay. Gosh, sometimes I feel so alone. Okay. So when you hit that email, it's going to have you reset your password. And of course, we want to make sure that it matches. All right. So we updated the user. Now, if you've ran workspaces before and you try to launch this, it could give you an error. You'll have to clear out and put the new workspace ID, which I'm going to show you right now. And hopefully I'm the right one. So here's your registration code right here, right? So you can go to any workspace you created. You can get the information that you need with the registration codes, and it'll tell you what it is. Here's a Linux. I think this one is my Windows one. So you would just get this registration code. And if we go over here and launch the app, you need to go download the app. If you don't have the app, you can go right here and choose whatever app you would like. If you're going to be using it on Windows, iPad, Mac OS, Fire tablet, Chromebook, you would just install these on the device so that you can access this workspace. So let's come back over here. And again, I don't know how Zoom is going to react, if you'll be able to see this or not. And I guess I need to know. So can you see my workspace is spinning or no?
We see the console, we see launch workspace.
Okay, so you're not seeing this, so I apologize.
Are you sharing all of your desktops or are you just sharing the browser?
It's probably just the browser, so
Yeah, if you want to share more things that are on a screen, you have to share the actual screen and not just the individual applications.
Screen 2. You should see all of it now, correct?
There you go. Yes, sir.
Okay, I apologize. All
No
right,
worries.
so let's hope that I chose the right stuff. Oh my goodness, I think that we're good. So there you go. Again, I compressed about 20 minutes of this. It takes about 20 minutes to start one of these. But the main thing that I like to take away is that this is totally customizable, right? So again, if Jeremy's nice enough to let me come back, I would like to show everyone how you can create a certain desktop for a certain set of users, and save that, and then just run that as your own bundle. I'm gonna go ahead and put no on here. So that when you get a new employee for HR, you can just go to the HR bundle, assign it, send the email to the user. The user can log in almost immediately, and it just saves so much time. So that's my demo. That's my speech. The presentation. Did any of it make sense? Did you have any questions? Pretty easy. Everybody agree it's easy. Does anybody work in this industry right now where you actually have to provision laptops or desktops?
Just come off mute for anybody that wants to chat.
Would you guys be interested in learning maybe deeper on how to make your own bundles? Is there something that I can bring back to everyone to show them another portion of this? Or is this pretty much basic for you guys and it's just a refresher?
I'm honestly lost and I'm humiliated to even begin what to ask.
Why? What do you mean?
Yeah, I just came in 15 minutes late because I was not home and I didn't catch the beginning. So I'm
no worries. So basically I was just going over virtual desktops. Do you use virtual desktops right now?
No.
Do you provision your hardware for your users?
No, I'm just trying to learn. I'm just trying to learn.
Okay.
I don't do any of that.
No worries. Well, if you want to learn, what I'll do is I'll get everybody's email, or if you want to hit it in the chat, put your email in there. I'll send you some information on Workspaces. And what I just went through will teach you how to spin up a workspace. Oh, I need to show you guys how to delete everything, and play around with it because it has free tier. It's a virtual desktop in the cloud. It comes in different flavors, Linux, Windows. You can customize it. It can be persistent. You can use it for an hour, a day, depending on how often you'd be using it. And it's just like having a Windows 10 computer or a Linux Ubuntu. So why I have that on my head, let me go ahead and show you. For those of you who take the plunge and you want to go ahead and try Workspaces out, the first thing we have to do is we want to delete all these resources, right? Because you can't delete these. I got to move this whole thing.
Hey, we did get a question about doing more with bundles. Someone's done it with GPO before and would like to see the bundles.
Oh, sure. You want to see the bundles? Sure. Yeah, and there's some other things that I'd like to show you in here. Workspaces. I'm just gonna here. We're not actually gonna launch anything. Okay, so some of the things that I forgot to point out, I apologize, is if you have power users, if you have people who need the graphics portion, they're doing AutoCAD. There's lots of different flavors. So you can come in here and you can see if you go down, up. They have the graphics one. So you're looking at, AV CPUs, graphics with Windows 10. You can put Office on it. What was the bundle question?
He said he had done it with GPO deployments and Workspaces, so he wanted to see more about how you do it with bundles.
So bundles, we would create those bundles. And I definitely, if Jeremy's on, if you'd like me to come back and go a walkthrough with that, I can definitely come back where you can customize your bundle. Get, like, if you wanted to put a certain application on there, for like your CAD people, I'd be happy to come back and do that. But I don't think Jeremy's here anymore. I think he had to blast.
He's just here with us in spirit.
Okay, in spirit. But yeah, I'm happy to do that. So they just have to give me a time or a date, or if you'd like to meet up with me, I'd do a one-on-one with you, show you the different ways we can do this kind of stuff. It's longer than 30 minutes or 45 minutes, but if you have the time, I definitely have the time to teach you that.
Yeah, Matt, make sure you throw your email in the chat so he can grab it. Since that was your question, Mr. McKinsey.
And let me go ahead and stop
You
this.
got a
Okay.
lot of emails in the chat.
Awesome. Well, this was my first meetup, and I hope that I met your expectation with showing you something. Happy to dive deeper in a one-on-one session, or if you'd like to go to those immersion days, they go really deep there. And I appreciate you guys letting me come, and I will find this chat in just a moment. There's 16 of them.
Hey, do you know anything? Do you know if AWS is going to offer any discounted certification vouchers this year? Do you have any info about that?
I don't. Put that in the chat, because I'm just basically going to copy this chat and answer all your questions anyway. So I don't know if they're getting me discounts myself. I have to get another cert this year, so it's actually top of mind. But I will find out, because it's an expensive process. So come on, Zoom. Zoom does not love me.
It's the wrong DM.
All right. So
do you have time for more questions about Workspaces?
Sure, go ahead.
So you might have mentioned this and I might have just missed it, but what are the integrations with existing AWS networking resources? Say we have an on-prem with a direct connect to VPCs and we're running servers in AWS now. How does Workspaces integrate with that?
They do integrate. Again, that's a lot deeper of a conversation if you use storage gateway, but having the workspaces in the cloud gives you that foot in already, where we can start using the other resources depending on how you're connecting and what you're doing. Do you currently run workspaces in AWS, or do you just have infrastructure right now in AWS?
Just server infrastructure.
Okay, yeah. So there's ways to do it, especially with storage gateway. I'm sure everyone here, I'm not doing any plugs for any other companies, right? But there's other products out there like Hotberry who can mount things automatically. Have you ever heard of that, Corey?
Yeah. So are these workspaces desktops? Can they be associated with the VPC in such a way that I have, routes to, say, an FSX storage instance or something?
Yes. And that, again, that's a really deep conversation, because there's a lot of other things behind and under the covers. To say yes or no to anything is, going to chop my foot off. But I had the same thing with my customer that I was talking to earlier. They want to start FSX. They use Panzura. So they're looking at how they can integrate these kind of things inside the cloud. So if they have their Panzura instance in the cloud, they're running a storage gateway or FSX for Windows. How can we put all these pieces together? And that's an ongoing conversation. But I'd be happy to entertain that and sit down and talk with you about it.
Okay. And then a simple yes or no also, is it possible to route and get networking from these workspaces, through existing, say, direct connect connections that are associated with VPCs down to an on-prem environment? So
backwards. I'm going to get back to you on that. I don't want this. A simple yes or no is so difficult in my job. I mean, as is to say simple yes or no. So I will definitely take that down, Saeed. I think that you're taking some of the questions too. And Corey, if you'll put your email inside the chat for me real quick, I'll copy it. Right. Oh, here's all that stuff. All right. So it's CSCOGIN.
Yes.
Awesome. Okay. I will shoot you an email and we'll dig a little bit deeper into that to make sure that we're good. Let me paste this over here. So Justin, do you have the ability to send me the transcripts from Zoom? I don't know anything about Zoom.
Yeah, no, we'll get Jeremy to log in and it'll be a text file, and I'll get him to send you the text file.
That way I don't have to sit here and copy and paste.
Yeah, it'll have everything that was public in the text file, and you can just go through and grab it all.
Awesome. And then I'm going to put my email address in here.
And we've got till 1, so whoever's got questions, just keep pounding him. Or keep asking them.
Oh my goodness.
Help him.
Yeah, and remember, if you do this, I forgot to do it in front of you because someone asked me a question. You want to delete that directory because you're going to keep paying $36 a month until you figure out why. And you're gonna be like, oh my gosh, Mike set me up. It's costing me $36 for me just to try this out. So make sure you go and delete that directory as well. I think, is John on here? Or did John leave already? Yeah, John left already.
John from Amazon proper. Yeah, he left.
Yes, John. She's actually here in the building. Anyway, it was great to be here today. Again, this is my first meetup. I hope that you got something out of this. Again, there's my email address. Happy to talk use case. Again, I'm Susan's architect. So I just help with the technology portion of it. And happy to help, happy to learn about what you're doing and see where I can help you or where you'll fit in with our different technologies.
I have a
I'm going to
question.
mute for a second. Go ahead.
So use case, and I may miss things because I came in pretty late in the discussion here, but a use case that I'd be interested in hearing you comment on with this is sort of a setting this up so that people can come in and do modeling or data access as a service, could you set up workspaces where they've got a data analytics platform, some sort of
So if you are
Python
going
environment?
Right. So that's the kind of the beauty of Workspaces is you designed it. And I believe that's James. Let me put my glasses back on.
Okay, you're right. Yeah.
So that's the beauty of it, right? So you set up these environments. So let's say I'll use my engineering firm that I just did. So they wanted to have certain CAD software on these instances so that their engineers could go out and do some drawings for solar and a few other things. Whatever you want on that instance will be on that instance, and you can multiply it. So if you wanted to use a Linux machine and have people doing code in Python and connect that code, as long as you set up the instance and all the security around it, you can just dish those out to different users depending on what platform they're on. What department they're in, but you can customize it just like you would a Windows machine. Or a Linux machine, of course.
Right. And you said it's 30. I heard you throw out the number $36 a month. Is there a model? And I'm assuming it's scaled depending on what people are actually using, but is there a model that views it as a little bit more of a commodity element? Like if you're trying to, I'll give you, I'll quit being obfuscating. We're trying to stand something up where we have a giant consortium of researchers that are experimenting and contributing on a particular project. And it'd be useful if they all had access to a pretty similar entry point that they could mess around with.
Right.
This might be one way to accomplish that, but it's not like potentially a lot of them, So.
Right. And I see what you're saying, almost maybe selling a solution, right? Selling it to people to come in and try their stuff, kind of what it sounds like to me. So maybe you missed a little bit. So you can choose how you want users to actually connect to these workspaces. You can use a Microsoft AD, you can connect the on-prem AD, or you can use the simple that I did, which is basically you're going to create your users. And if you want them to go in, you can tell from CloudWatch who logged in, how long they used the machine. And now I'm a generalist, but I have many specialists who probably have done this use case before and can tell you the ins and outs and how to maybe make that available to others where are you looking to maybe sell a software as a service basically?
We're trying to, we would be tracking the costs per individual, but not selling it to them there. This would be a collaborative.
He's a scientist. He needs a lot of people to analyze his data.
Okay, so usage, you want to track usage.
Yeah, exactly. And that was the other question. So they jump on there. Somebody earlier was asking about access to certain data tanks, data, the same kinds of costs that would be associated with getting in and doing command line access to an S3,
right?
To some sort of computation that you set up on a compute engine out there in Amazon. The same kinds of things are going to apply here. It's just that they're interacting with it not at the command line, but in a more familiar interface.
Correct. You could use it either way, right? So if you're going to connect to your S3 bucket or you're going to connect to a service, the CLI can do that, right? You can interact different ways. And again, it's a little bit out of my network experience level, but I can definitely get people who can look at that use case. Sure, we've had that use case and walk you through the positives and what you could, want to be potentially on the lookout for.
Okay. Well, I've got my email in the list and love
Great.
to hear from you, and we'll follow.
For sure, for sure.
Thanks.
And I'm available, by the way, everyone here. I'm available just to talk to as a solutions architect without, and Saeed is my brother. He's awesome, but we don't have to go through a sales motion. You can just email me and we can talk about your use case. Okay. I'm a technology person. Although Saeed is my man. That way there's no pressure. You want to talk about a use case? Happy to do so. I'm happy to bring other people in. If I don't know the answer, that's the beauty of my job, is I have everybody here that can help, that are specialists and know the ins and outs of all of this stuff, especially when it comes to storage. I think Corey was asking about that earlier.
I have a quick second that. Yep.
I'm sorry, Saeed?
No, I was like, I definitely second that. We have the resources and a plethora of information that we are here to offer, and just email any of us, reach out to myself or Michael, and we'll be more than happy to assist. But someone did have a question. Go for it.
Yes, this is Tyrone. I just want to kind of clarify something. Well, ask to clarify a question that I think James had. When you setting this up, is it set up the same way, like the same premise as like IMs, like your roles and stuff like that?
So when you go into setting these workspaces up for mass, right? So like you're going to have security groups associated. Do you know what a security group is?
Yes.
Yeah, you're gonna have associated security groups. I mean, what I talked about today is just the surface of what Workspaces is, right? You have security groups, routing, network security. You're inside of VPC. It's isolated. Users, you can bring an Active Directory. You can do connector. So yes, the granularity is there, especially when it comes to security. And I don't know if you joined late or not, but another wonderful thing about Workspaces is the data never touches the person who's typing, right? Their computers never touched, their tablets never touched, their phone is never touched. It all resides within your VPC. It's maintained secure. But yeah, IAM comes in the roles. Of course, when you use Active Directory, we start getting to IAM. That's a huge portion of AWS. And so when you create those security groups, you start doing roles and you have Active Directory. The short answer is yes. I know I told you I never give yes or no's. But the short answer is yes, and you can really get deep into this, and Workspaces is really huge. And again, hit my email with exacts or what you would like to talk about, and I can definitely give you more of a pointed answer. If that didn't answer your question, did that answer your question, Darren?
Yes, it did. Thank you.
Okay, cool. Okay, I got crickets. So Justin, do you see any time on the schedule in maybe the next, 3 or 4 months? I mean, I know we have people lined up, and
yeah, he says there's some spots in the summer, and you were amazing, and we had tons of questions at the end, which is always means we've had a great meeting. So yeah, I would love to have you come back.
Again, I'd love to show the bundles. I'd like to show how the particular firm I'm working with right now, they have a little bit different of use case, but AppStream is something I like to go over with, because a lot of people who set up a workspace, let's say that you want to use really intensive GPUs because you're doing AutoCAD or something that's really intense. Well, it's usually a better idea to take that one intense application, throw it into AppStream, and then just run a regular desktop for your users. It's much easier on the cost effectiveness is there. And then if you're an engineering firm of 40 people, let's say you have 5 app streams that you're running where 5 users are actively drawing. The other users are doing email and they're doing, whatever the normal day's routine is. You want to look at that price of having that super, big instance to run that one application versus let's do AppStream, get that one app going really quick, really fast, and then just use desktops for the rest of our users. And it's all about cost, right? Everything you do, you want to save the money, save the time, save the energy, and digging deep and diving deep into the different services, you get those little pieces of information. AppStream is maybe more cost effective if you're just running an amped up application. And then again, like I said, I was in the government, so whoever the boss was, they always wanted the most decked out computer there is. you know, so you have that, you know, okay, you want the super big one and you have the best, okay, here you go. But it's always about cost. It's about, let's see what is the right service to get this particular workload running and running right. And that's where we can do, you know, proof of concepts. We can run through my account and spend some money, you know, and watch how this works, so that you really get what you want. And I don't know how much people talk about that. And again, I've never been in one of these meetups, but it always comes down to cost and how much time can we save in the mundane stuff that you do, right? So please hit me. Happy to answer. I definitely want to do an app, a bundle, and maybe throw some app stream in there if anybody's interested.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. If anybody else has any questions, throw them in the chat, come off mute, but really appreciate everybody coming and attending. And this is a really, really great meetup.
Well, I had a good time, and thanks again, Justin, for letting me come. I hope that you guys learned a little bit of something, but it was my pleasure to be here. I really appreciate it.